Welcome, friends, to the Beaver Dam. We are live here doing the Dark Sovereign event, so getting Leviathan into our roster. Now, this ship is amazing, and I want to take a second really quick and say this ship is amazing at 7 stars, so make sure that if you're watching this in preparation, you start saving crystals now, because it takes 2 years to get a 7-star if you don't use any crystals, and your capital ships are one of the most important things to spend your crystals on from, you know, Fleet Arena and that type of stuff. So make sure you're saving up now. You want to get 7-star as fast as possible, because this ship is doo-doo before it's 7-star. So jumping into the overall event, we'll kind of go through how the ships interact with each other and what the capital ship does as we go along. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments section, and you know, well, either me or a fellow member of the dam will be happy to answer you. We got tons of great people here, all trying to help each other out, be the best swagoers we could possibly be. So, jumping into Tier 1, so basically Tier 1, 2, and 3 are really easy. Tier 4 is a little iffy if you don't understand things. I feel like the changes to the Leviathan have made this event quite easy. Not to the Leviathan specifically, because the Leviathan, you know, it feels like some of this stuff might be missing out of its reworks, but even with the reworks, even with the Tidorito rework, it feels really easy to get through. So we shouldn't have any problem. Yes, you have a Gear 11 Revan that you borrow, but I just suggest this as your opening lineup for every single tier, and then these are really the only 2 ships you ever use, and then the rest is just you have to use them essentially. So we'll jump in and we'll kind of describe it. So one of the sad things is the reason Tier 1 and Tier 2 are so easy at this point is because capital ships that are dark side can no longer gain turn meter with the Tidorito changes. And so because of that, these first 2 tiers I'm sure were at least semi-difficult when the event came out. Now it just doesn't matter because they can't actually do anything. So the whole point of basically getting abilities with your capital ship is one of your abilities will be locked behind hitting a certain amount of debuffs during your match, and so you're going to want to be trying to get as many debuffs as possible out there. And honestly, for these first couple tiers, you could probably just spam abilities and call it good. His AoE essentially will apply debuffs and then apply more debuffs if they're under 100% health, so we're just going to try to get some debuffs out there. This is the Sabotage the Engines ability. All of his abilities when it comes to his capital ship are one-time use in the battle, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm not a big fan of that for the Leviathan, but hey, it's still a sick ship. That's not true. I love Revan. I love the design of the ship, how it looks and everything. I'm actually not a big fan of Leviathan's kit. Sue me. I've never been a big fan. There's a reason that I'm getting it now instead of way back when. But anyways, this ability essentially is going to remove speed from the enemy capital ship, which is going to give you more time to do everything you need to do, as well as remove speed from, you know, remove turn meter from enemies. And so you're always just going to use this ability when you target it. You'll always target your tank because it just gives basically breach immunity, which is good against the Executor. Not many other places, but you just use it on the tank. Okay, over here you got a heal with the middle ability, and then you've got a mass swarm with the last ability, which depending on how many Sith allies you have on the field, you will be able to do more or less when it comes to like debuffs that you get from it. So it'll become more powerful as you go through matches typically. So we'll hit that. We're just going to basically try to blitz through ships and get as much debuffs as possible. With the tank, it just has a basic, and then it has an ability that drops concussion mines. And concussion mines, when they explode, they turn into dazes, which is super, super nice. And so you're playing off those dazes pretty heavily in most battles. And when any of your ships get critically hit when he's on the field, they're going to get a concussion mine as well. So they'll kind of naturally gain concussion mines. Now we're going to bring out the Scimitar. So basically your Mark 6 Interceptor, you bring it out as your second reinforcement because it'll have an insta-kill on the basic if you bring it as a second reinforcement. If you bring it out as a first reinforcement, it will not have that insta-kill ready to go. So you want to bring it out as a second reinforcement. Your Scimitar, with the changes to it, will increase the speed of your allies as well as your allied capital ship, and so it'll allow you to get another reinforcement out, get faster ultimate, all that type of stuff, as well as its ability. It's like the main ability that it has here is going to be it can cause everyone but one person to go under stealth, and so you can just do that, and all of a sudden you have some protection up, and now your tank's in the open, and even if they could ignore taunt, they can't get to anyone but your tank. So we'll heal up our tank real quick. Obviously, this tier, like, if there was an auto button, I think you could auto tier 1 and tier 2. This other ability, once you hit a certain amount of debuffs, this ability can't be used until other Sith ships inflict 15 debuffs. So once you hit those 15 debuffs, this ability unlocks. Once again, you can only use it once per match. But this one is going to be super nice because it helps one person recover health, as well as it makes it so the next ship that comes out of reinforcements on the enemy side instantly dies. And so super, super nice. Now keep in mind, if you don't have a 7-star capital ship after you finish this event, this ability will not kill the next reinforcement. And so you have to be careful, because a lot of these abilities, the best parts of them are gate locked behind the 7-star. But in the event, that's what it'll do every time. So, or if someone needed healing, I'd give it to them. No one needs healing, so I'm just going to give it to our tank. And then now they have this capital ship sabotage. The next ship called to reinforce is immediately destroyed upon deployment. So now we're just going to kind of keep going until everyone's dead at this point. You know, the ultimate is, it's there, but the ultimate is not something that's going to be insanely powerful. It just shuts off their ability to use their capital ship. And so in the first tier, I didn't even get to use it. Second tier, you know, you get to use it a bit. Like I got to use it, but like it doesn't really do much. In my opinion, it's one of the more lackluster ultimate abilities out of all of them. I do appreciate that they fixed it, though. When this ship first came out, it was rough. Jumping into the second tier, once again, same thing. We're just throwing it in. And disclaimer, answers will be nonsensical. Okay, it sounds like Heinricher's got us with the nonsensical stuff. Okay, same thing. We're just basically spamming abilities, trying to get as many debuffs out on the enemies as possible, so we can unlock that next ability and make it sure that if they get a reinforcement, it insta-dies. So we'll hit this. We're going to give breach immunity to our tank like we always do, because, you know, they're going to be taking the brunt of attacks. We're going to get some concussion mines out there. And then, you know, we don't really need the healing, so we're going to go just a mass swarm on the scythe. And I'm just going to keep working on the scythe, honestly. So let's bring out that scimitar again, get that wonderful speed increase, and go all in. And, like, the nice thing about this event is, well, A, it's not that hard, and B, sometimes, okay, for some reason, you know, limit 1 use per battle. For some reason, some of these abilities I've had glitch and let me use it multiple times, but, you know, it says limit once per battle, so normally that's how it works. But in this event specifically, I've had it glitch once where it let me use one of the abilities twice, and I was confused. Maybe I'm crazy, though. Maybe it didn't happen that way, and everyone can call me crazy in the comment section. But get the reinforcement capital ship sabotage thing on them, so now if they bring out anyone, doesn't really matter. Problem is, again, with the Tidorito changes, they don't get turn meter, and so it ends up with them just basically never taking a turn and never getting to what they need to get to. So I'm not overly worried in these first 2 tiers. Jump in with our Mark 6 Interceptor, and now because our Mark 6 Interceptor is coming out as our second reinforcement, we have 50 of these, and as you can see here, if it's above 40 stacks, lose 40 stacks and instantly defeat target enemy. And so we can instantly defeat an enemy with our basic here, so you always want to open up with your basic on one of the enemies. Other abilities this guy has, he can inflict potency down on enemies. So sometimes, it's not very common in today's meta, but sometimes there will be metas where we end up using the Mark 6 Interceptor in the starting lineup instead of utilizing the insta-kill, because it can get out a lot of debuffs, and so it can get the reinforcement sabotage out much faster, because it has, you know, potency down on this on all enemies. Additionally, it has a whole bunch of, you know, critical chance up critical damage down, speed down, that's unresistible, unevadable. It has a whole bunch of good stuff on this last ability that can get you really quickly into those 15 debuffs that you need to get that other ability. But in this case, when it comes to current meta, it's not very typical that you use it in the starting lineup. Not since the changes to the scimitar, at least. Yeah. If I don't know what this whole Galactic Challenge tickets thing it's talking about is, but hey, whatever. Jumping into the third tier, once again, same thing. You're using the same order of operations. Additionally, if you're looking at like the other ship that's in this fleet, you're looking at Sith Fighter. Sith Fighter is basically it just hands out a ton of foresight, and so it's kind of like a survivability thing, and it does healing immunity as well and health down, which is helpful. So it'll be utilized in the fleet. It's just not very much utilized inside this event necessarily. So just because you don't need it, you rarely get to the point where you need it. So as always, we're throwing that over to our ship. Go ahead and basic. And get some more concussion mines out there. Yeah, all in. Let's try and kill them off as fast as we can. I don't know. I'm kind of... Yeah, I'm feeling that we do the scimitar first. We're going to do the scimitar first, and then we'll do the ability next. That's what I did last time, and it worked just fine. So... get everyone under stealth. We're going to focus down killing off the Sun Fact just so we don't have to deal with it. Oh, dude, who knows when you're ever going to see another time where it goes that fast on the ultimate. That is just unheard of speed for that. But we're just going to have to deal with surviving here for a second. Because we have the scimitar out, it did increase our speed, so it won't be too bad getting back to the turn with our capital ship and with our ships. So we can kind of, you know, get through this pretty quickly and do some solid stuff. Honestly, yeah, let's just ignore the ability again just for fun. And we'll stun the Hyena Bomber because you stun whoever you're aiming at when you bring out a reinforcement. We'll kill off the Geonosian Starfighter. And at that point, you're at a dub. So, not too hard for the... Oh, I guess we should have brought out the stop the reinforcement, because now we have to deal with another ship, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. It's fine. It just adds in another 30 seconds to this battle. And there we go. Okay, last tier, this is where it gets a little scary, and where you just need to basically pay attention. But honestly, the same formula we've been using is the same formula we're going to use. You don't really have to change the formula. Insert the formula crabs. I can't do a Plankton impression, unfortunately. So this is against the Executor. This is where that breach immunity comes into play. Now, I have had some struggles with this. If they end up doing a little too much damage in the early game, if they get Xandu's Blood to assist twice in a couple cases, it can be a little scary, but we just play it how we can, and you may have to restart this once. But you want to save your specials, because usually you're trying to just blitz down as many debuffs as you can, as we showed in those other ones, but they have tenacity up, and most of our debuffs are resistible, and so instead we're actually going to save all of our stuff, and then we'll utilize our specials on our regular ships once the tenacity up disappears. We are going to use this ability on our tank like we usually do, but it's important for this one because it is breach immunity, which means we'll stop them from getting faster ultimate, essentially, by using this ability on our tank. So make sure you use that on your tank. We still have tenacity up on the enemy, so I'm just going to basic. I'm just going to basic here as well, because just tenacity. And then we're going to hit the heal here because our tank is already looking a little shoddy. And so we're going to keep our tank alive as much as we can. Now that tenacity up is off, we can now just start blitzing down debuffs as much as we can. We're going to, once again, call in Scimitar, get that speed boost onto our team, keep our guys under stealth. The critical hit immunity definitely carries here for sure. We're going to hit the concussion mines. And then right here, I like to, you know, you're going to get a turn with the Malgus' ship. I like to blitz down the IG-2000. The IG-2000 just deals so much damage. If you can get enough concussion mines on him, he'll just die by himself. But I like doing that at the beginning and just getting that basically in there to hurt him as much as we can. We'll get that heal on our tank, make sure the reinforcements will die if they come out. Once again, just spam specials, essentially. And now we're just waiting for our insta-kill to get through the Houndstooth. And then we can start working on whoever we need to work on. Hit the heal, keep our Scimitar alive. That was scary. Okay, and here we go. We now have our insta-kill. So we're just gonna basic on the Houndstooth. And voila, now we can focus on whoever we need to, and I suggest IG-2000 first. Usually in a battle where you're going up against an Executor, your main focus is the Razor Crest, but when it comes to this, just the IG-2000 deals so much damage, and so I like to focus him down first as much as I can. Let's go ahead and steal their capital ship, make sure they don't ult. I'm actually just gonna basic here because I actually don't want to remove the fear. I want them to miss their turns, and I want to be able to spend as much time working on the enemies that I'm working on as I can. Okay, there we go. We are through the IG-2000. And now our basic does put on fear on the enemy, which is nice. And so, you know, we can utilize that to some degree. It's not super often that it's going to come into play just because we're going to be moving our way through these enemies so fast that we're going to be pulling off that pretty often. But there you go. You follow that, you should have zero problems getting through the fleets. Just that Scimitar giving the speed boost, then allowing you to get the insta-kill on the Houndstooth, and it just becomes easy from there. If you lose a ship early on, I would suggest just restarting and going back in. I've lost my tank a couple times earlier on due to like double hits from Xandu's blood and that type of stuff, but that's about it. And then we have the bonus tier, and I'm gonna be honest, the bonus tier, I'm not worried for you at all. Use the same setup as before, and then you just go in, and honestly, exactly what we just did to the Executor and to all the other ships, where you just you know, you're trying to get as many debuffs out there as you can, you do the same basic thing. And so you know, we're going to hit the special, get all of those juicy debuffs out there, get breach immunity, even though it really doesn't matter against this specific fleet, over on our tank, get those concussion mines out. If we can get one on Han's Millennium Falcon, it's super nice. Not necessary though, but it is super nice. And we're trying our best to, you know, blitz down the Y-Wing and get through it, and then just kill everyone else. Like it's really not that hard. Like honestly, I think you could probably auto this. I haven't tested it because I've done it once, but like I have no doubts that you could auto this. This is, I mean, you can see it. We're already through our Y-Wing. We're through another ship. I feel like you could fully auto this with zero problems. So, there you go. There is your Leviathan guide. If you have any questions, once again, throw them in the into the comments section. Heinricher has promised that he will respond to each and every one of the comments, and I will be holding him to that. And he also said that all of those responses will be nonsensical. So, you know, hopefully that doesn't, you know, it probably won't help. But hey, I'll also try to respond with helpful things as well. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this guide, throw a subscribe, throw it to your guildmate, help out another guy, you know, make it easy on them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for giving a damn.